Okay, already. This season, we're coaching someone through what so many of us go through.
I'm Alison.
I'm Michelle.
Meet Sophie. She stayed too long, she'll break up, she'll heal, she'll date, she'll spiral. She's you, she's us.
We'll walk with her and you through every phase, from heartbreak to wholeness.
If you're tired of the chaos and ready to thrive in singlehood and in love,
welcome to season 3. Oh,
that's
so
so
close.
good.
Hello.
Hey, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome. Episode 3.
Episode 3. Talking about touchy subjects.
Yeah.
So Sophie is on her journey. She's trying to figure it out with her boyfriend, and she just doesn't know how to bring up sore subjects with him. Here, I was going to say with her man, and then I said him, and now I was just like with him man. Anyway, we don't know. So with him,
we'll allow them to.
With that,
you can be whatever you want.
Well, yeah, exactly. No judgment. No judgment. How to bring up a sore subject with my partner without starting a fight? Well, I think asking this question is showing a lot of self-awareness, for one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We like it. It was in our old jingle, yeah, self-awareness.
You know that it's in how you address something that matters, is how and the way you do it. Sorry, go on.
Well, I mean, no, you put the finger on it. It's just you're aware that there's a problem, and because I think if it's the cliche thing of like, if you're wondering about it, you're halfway there, because people who kind of barrel into bringing up sore subjects and are surprised when it brings up a fight are part of the problem. But if you kind of know that there's a problem and you want to figure it out, it's a good start. And
I was just going to say that, by the way, speaking of narcissists, we were talking about narcissists in the previous episode. And I think that if you're scared, you have to make sure that you're not scared to bring it up because of how they will react. Because then that's kind of also a red flag of like, are they just freaking out every time you bring something up and they say, oh my God, you again. Like, why are you being so problematic?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's how you bring it up, but also why you're scared of how to bring it up. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. And I think that, all sorts of topics and, depending on the relationship, but I have, a couple of ideas. I'll float them by you and see, what you think of them. I have two ideas, one of which I use in my own relationship. The other, I haven't used it, but I know other people do. The one that I don't use is scheduling time for arguments.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
And it's just... So it's kind of setting time aside every couple of weeks for a couple of hours and say every grievance we'll bring up at this point. The logic behind that, I've never done it, but I know people who do it. You don't seem convinced. Give me your opinion after. But the logic behind that is, that your grievance is going to be addressed at this point, so you can let it go and not hold on to it. Because most of the time in a healthy relationship, if there's something, your need not being met and you want it to be met, it becomes an argument because you are, afraid that it's never going to be seen or heard. So having time scheduled for that lets you know that it is going to be seen and heard. And so you can kind of enjoy the rest of your time with your partner. The one I do is that anytime there's something coming up, I check in with him and I say, how emotionally available are you right now? And I'm not going to lie, practically 100% of the time, he'll end up being open to a discussion. And that's not because he's available 100% of the time. That is because I kind of sent him the message of like, I'm about to bring up a sore subject. I need you to kind of be in the right state of mind. And asking him how he is going to put him in that right state of mind. Like it's going to forewarn him and it's going to kind of prepare him. And he does the same. Like anytime something about his ex, his mum, his, work or whatever that he knows kind of brings up a sore spot in our relationship, he'll say, how emotionally available are you? I check in. I know that something's going to come up. What it does to me is that if he's asking for it now, it's because he needs it now. So I just
Yeah.
quickly kind of check, am I available? And doing that check makes me available. But also sometimes I am not available for, many different reasons. And I'm going to say I'm not available. And he respects that. But we come back to it quickly and
Yeah.
vice versa. He will say, like, right now I'm not available. And he'll come back to it on his own. Like he'll say he wanted to talk about something yesterday or earlier or whatever, and then we're available. So those are my two kind of opinions.
Well, let's talk about the scheduling first, and then I'll get back to your method. I think when you schedule something into your calendar, then you're scheduling it for it to happen. So you know that like an argument time is coming up, and so I'm going to find something to argue about. And I'm going
Mm.
to, hold everything up and keep it pent up. And then when the argument time comes, it just comes out all in one go. And I feel like scheduling it in advance, yes, it might be good if you're always fighting and you just need that to how do you, there's a word in Hebrew I'm trying to think of how to compartmentalize it maybe, or like
Yeah.
to close it up in a,
Analyze, like,
yeah, to cage it in a specific time so you're not constantly arguing. But then if you're, I don't know, it just seems to me like you're inviting it. Like I think in the same sense of like if you're only focusing on negative things, all you're going to see is negative things. You're never going to be able to see good stuff. So if you're scheduling time for arguments, you're going to subconsciously always think of, okay, what do we need to argue about next? Instead of like if you're just not scheduling it, yes, there's a risk of like an argument bursting out in any moment, but there's also not that pressure to, oh my God, it's not in front of your eyes all the time. Like there's a schedule for an argument and it's there. So it's more prominent, if you get what I mean. And
yeah,
so it kind of, yes, it compartmentalizes it, but it also kind of makes it more, and I'm not sure if that's the right word, but whatever. But yes, but then it also makes it more part of your schedule. Whereas if you didn't schedule it, maybe you wouldn't have arguments at all. Maybe you just, learn to live in harmony. And I think, I mean, to each their own. If that's what works for you and that's what you like and enjoy, then go ahead. But I think it just gives it space when a lot of times you shouldn't give it so much space. And I think it's a great method to do what you guys are doing of like just whenever you're feeling something, gauge the other person's willingness to listen at that moment. If they can't, then take a step back, get back to it later. I think that's the healthy approach. And I think you just have to, and when you have healthy communication and when you both have your own self awareness, then you're able to do this. And you'll see that with time, you get to know each other's tells and you get to know how you work best together. And so it would be much easier to be able to ask for this space to bring something up. And it doesn't have to be an argument. I mean, when again, tying it back to the question, how do you bring something up? It doesn't have to turn into an argument. If you're just asking for something that you need or for an acknowledgement of your emotions or to do better in an aspect of your relationship, then it shouldn't turn into an argument. It should be a conversation where together you try to listen to each other and just talk about it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being naive because that's my relationship, and I worked very hard for my relationship to be like that. But I don't see a reason why people should argue so much.
you don't have kids.
That's also true, but a lot, again, most of the people I know that have kids and they argue, a lot of people who were entered their relationship very young and never took the time to
Yeah,
do all the work that I did on myself. So maybe if I did have kids now it would be different. I don't know, you
I
know.
who knows? Yeah, yeah. But no, no. But I mean, and Sophie doesn't have kids, so it
Yeah.
doesn't really apply to her. Um, I agree that people should not be arguing often, but I also would say that you guys are kind of a unicorn relationship.
Mm, maybe.
Um, I look at other relationships, I look at my own, like, yeah, with the thing with scheduling an argument, yeah, I think it's a bit of an overkill. It's,
You're sort of
you know,
manifesting arguments, basically,
so
in my opinion, at least.
yeah, because so it was the person who trained me to become a love coach who kind of used this, and I think she was using it mostly for like married couples in their 50s with kids.
Hmm.
But I've suggested it to couples and they do it and it works for them. But now that I'm thinking about it, they all have kids. Because yes, kids bring up the worst.
Hmm.
But like as a kind of a comparison, um, so JT and I don't do this, but I was living with a flatmate a while back now. And when she moved in, like we knew we were completely different. Like I was a morning person. She was a night owl. And like the flat wasn't really kind of organized to be shared. And just it was, it was kind of I needed somebody to help me pay bills and she needed a place to stay and it kind of worked out. And so we knew that it was going to be a bit touchy. And so we made a point of saying, let's make sure that we have at least one meal a week together and have that be the time to kind of go over the week and see what works and what doesn't.
Hmm.
And it became, and we ate together more than once a week, but it became this thing of like, I think it was Sundays, like Sunday kind of afternoon lounging around where we just, we'd say, please kind of make sure you don't wear shoes inside the house, at 2 a.m. when I'm sleeping, or um, when you come back from a run in the morning, just make sure you don't slam the door. Think, just things like that that would come up at that point instead of because, for example, if I went for a run in the morning and I slammed the door because I was kind of pumped up, it would drive her insane. And she wouldn't do it. She wouldn't say at that point. She'd just wait for Sunday. And that's when she would bring it up. And and it's also what kind of fine tuning it. Obviously, we weren't in a relationship and it was kind of a different thing. But I mean, it was a relationship of sorts,
Yeah.
just not a romantic. And it is just, figuring out a time to, air your grievances without making them a big deal. Obviously, for Sophie, it's a bit different because she has already started, like, for us, we wanted to prevent the negative cycle. This is to try and fix it.
Yeah. I think again, we may be a unicorn or maybe I don't know. It'd be interesting to do a study on it, but um I think we just put in the effort to put our egos aside and to talk about it in an emotionally stable way. If he does something that bothers me, first of all, I look at why it's bothering me,
Mm.
and is it a pattern? And how do I approach it if it's something that happens again and again? And then it's not about bringing something up to argue; it's about bringing something up to to express something that's bothering me, and maybe they're just not aware of it, and maybe they're doing it on purpose, and then that's a problem. But and I trust my partner to also be emotionally stable enough to be able to accept the constructive criticism and vice versa. Like there was something, what was it? There was something, oh, Zev usually gets up much earlier than I do, and normally I don't even feel him leaving. There was one morning this week that he went to the bathroom and he left his phone in the room, and then his alarm clock went off and it woke me up. And at first I was so frustrated and it was annoying and he felt bad about it. And he himself afterwards sent me a message about how he's sorry or whatever because we didn't see each other the whole day. So he was like, he wrote to me about it. I was like, and at first I was like frustrated. I was like, why in the world? Like, what were you thinking? Like, just. But then I calm down and I ask myself, okay, is this a pattern? Is this something that happens often? No. This is
Mm.
once in a since I moved in case. So I'm like, just let it go. It's not worth the argument. It didn't happen because he's selfish and he's not thinking. It happened because of a slip up. So it's important to notice these things and to acknowledge it and understand that you don't have to make someone feel bad for every small thing that they did wrong, and to be able to bring it up calmly and in a way that is productive. Because if you're just having an argument about it, no matter whether it's scheduled or not, it's not going to be productive because you're both so pent up.
Yeah. And I would add to what you just said of just, it's not about having an argument. It's about making something better.
Yeah. And I think, look, again, to each, I know that my sister-in-law said that, like we've spoken to them about this topic a lot of times. They just like to argue. That's their way of communication. Not that they argue a lot, but they do argue more than us. And they were just like, it's just it. And it's not in a toxic way. We don't argue in a way that tries to bring each other down or blame or whatever. That's our way of communicating, and that's fine, to each their own.
Yeah. Well, I don't know your sister-in-law, but I think it depends on the frequency and how
Oh
the
yeah.
argument looks.
Yeah.
Because JT and I have been together for 2.5 years. Yeah, for 2.5 years. We've probably had 7 or 8 big arguments,
Hmm.
that just, and I hate all of them. I
I
hated
get
all of
exhausted
them.
just thinking about arguments. I'm like,
Yeah,
people just
exactly.
take life too seriously. My God.
Yeah, it's shitty, and it's just, having okay, so there's having heated discussions. So I'll have heated discussions with JT, with my dad, with colleagues at work, and I kind of, if that's what your sister-in-law means, like having a heated
Yeah.
discussion and getting a rise and just kind of like a debate thing, then that I get that, I get it. But if it's an argument of just, you're feeling bad about something, or they're feeling bad about something, and you're kind of, blaming that, I don't feel that's healthy. I'm kind of, again, not nothing against your sister-in-law, but I feel that people who say that are people who kind of
Maybe
are
justify.
finding excuses. Yeah, a
Uh-huh.
little bit,
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah. Well, knowing them, then I'm assuming that it's not in a, that they have it under control. But it is true. You do have to be able to communicate properly no matter the tone. And some people just like getting loud and some people don't. But again, it has to be, you have to control your own emotions and your own reactions and tone, and not let them control you. Because a lot of times, yes, we
Mm,
get lost in our emotions and we just react out of impulse. But I think, and I used to be like that. I used to be very emotional. I used to be very up and down and react from the stomach and without even thinking, and say stupid shit all the time. Pardon my words. But I worked on myself a lot and I put in a lot of effort. And I spent a lot of time just figuring out why I'm reacting in such a way and what is the cause of it, and how can I do and be better, and just how can I stop stressing so much, and how can I stop overreacting, and how can I stop being so emotional, and how can I stop letting my emotions control me, and instead, and I feel much more stable, much more calm, and I've realized that I don't want to live my life from argument to argument and feeling that exhaustion of another fight and another argument, and being scared of what you say and how you say it, and will they leave and will they will. I don't want to be in a relationship that makes me feel that way. And a lot of times people settle for that because they're scared of being alone. And I'm not. I've been alone. I know that it's not scary. I know that my life has way more to it than just one relationship. So I'm able to I have the privilege of saying if this doesn't align with me, then fine. And I know that there's gonna be a person out there for me that I can create this with. And it's a fact. I found him.
Mm.
And none of us have the
Well, your
tolerance.
mum found him.
Well, my mum found him, yeah, which also says a lot because my mum is also like this. It's very sorry, it's very hard to argue with my mum, and it's very hard to argue with Ziv, and it's and I think that the fact that we're considered a unicorn is mind-boggling to me because
Mm.
then what's the point of being in a relationship if you're having so many arguments, if you're constantly scared of bringing up specific topics?
Well, I think that
A
there's the
relationship's supposed to
middle.
be oh, sorry?
I think that's the middle. We're trying to. I mean, I think
Yeah,
you guys are unicorn, but I think also arguing like Sophia's with her boyfriend every day
yeah.
is not healthy either. You want
No,
to. I think the objective is to never argue. As you know, we often say extremes are bad, but I think
yeah,
if I know I see your guys' relationship because there are people who never argue, but that's because they never bring up the bad stuff. And
yeah,
that's not good either. But the
no,
people who never argue because they put it in place and things like that, I think that's the objective. Like that's the only extreme that is okay and viable,
yeah.
unless I'm proven wrong. But it's, trying to bring stuff up. And I think, you know, I agree with what you're saying, but I think it's also, it's okay to sometimes argue. Like
Oh, of course. Zev and I also sometimes argue, and we do have our annual fight every so often, but like well, every year, and we do have little spats here and there, and it's fine. And we get up and we move on. But we also the reason why it doesn't happen so frequently, and the reason why we don't, you know, why we're able to get up from every fight that we have is because we have regular communication and healthy communication. We talk to each other all the time and we bring things up, and we also continue to do the internal work that we did before and continue to be mindful of ourselves and how we behave and what we're doing and what we know bothers them, and we know that and what we know is going to do them or make them feel better. So it's putting your mindset in like in just being there, and just also adopting in general a relaxed mindset of just like
Mm,
not taking things too seriously, not taking things too hard.
yeah. So
But
what would you say to Sophie when she says that her partner shuts down and avoids the conversation altogether?
well, it's hard when someone is not letting you talk to them. There's not I don't know, it's either maybe trying to find someone who can help you figure out why they're shutting down like that. Someone from the outside who maybe can give you a different perspective, who can maybe, like a therapist, who can actually approach them and talk to them.
Hmm.
And because a lot of times when you bring something up, I feel like there's a lot of baggage there. And so if you're bringing it up, then they're shutting out because maybe they feel like you're constantly berating them. Maybe they feel like you're constantly only looking at the bad things. Maybe they have some kind of resentment or something that causes them to clam up when you bring it up. But perhaps if someone else brings it up, then it will bring out in them something different. Maybe they won't have as much pent up emotions, and the instinct won't be to clam up.
But also, okay, I agree. I mean, I think everybody should go see a therapist once or twice a year at least,
Yeah,
like, at least once in your life. But I think aside from that, she can also, ask him how he would like her to bring up,
yeah,
uncomfortable topics.
yeah, yeah. I think it's well, yes. I'm gonna um read. I'm just gonna say that yes, it's important to see someone if you're having a really hard time. But I think that's not the last resort, but I think you first need to try and figure things out for yourself before you start, seeking help from the outside.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I think you first need to look inwards and in your relationship and try to figure out what's going on before you go out to someone else, like a therapist or whoever it is, to try and help you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think definitely, even do both.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think if you do the work by yourself, then you don't really need relationship therapy.
Well, I mean, I don't think one cancels out the other. I think, therapy is like going to school and they give you homework to go do at home, or physical therapy where you do the exercises with the therapist, but they give you, exercises to do at home. And also they give you an outside perspective that often you can't see when you're so up close.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think it is important to first maybe try to figure out why they're clamping up. And maybe the thing is that could cause them to clamp up even more, saying like, or shut them down. Like, why are you asking me? Leave me alone.
Mm.
Maybe it's, again, if someone's shutting you out so much, then I'm sorry to say, then maybe they're just not the right person for you. Maybe they just don't want to be there. Maybe it's a waste of your energy. But maybe they're also just going through something and you have to be more patient. And that's exactly what a relationship is sometimes is also being patient to the other person you're with and being understanding and being able to accept their emotions and cope with them together with them.
For sure.
So I think maybe at first I would try to figure out what in that moment made them shut down. Maybe it's the way you asked it. Maybe it's a specific word you said. Maybe it's where you are at physically. Maybe it's a time of day. It's, some people just, it's harder for them to open up. So when something is brought up, then they shut down because they don't know how maybe to express themselves. So it's important to figure out again why they're shutting down and the environment you're in, and then try to figure out how you can bring it up differently and how you can maybe get them to open up more and be understanding. Because again, it could be this is just something that's hard for them to do and they need your help and support. And maybe, and it's something that they need you to take control of. Because, in relationship, there's two people and sometimes they're in control and sometimes you're in control. So maybe this is an aspect of your relationship that you just have to be more in control of. Or if it's a pattern and it's something that they always do and shut you out, then you have to think about yourself and say, I'm sorry, I'm not willing to tolerate someone who's shutting down on me every single time I try to bring something up, no matter how I bring it up or where I bring it up or when I bring it up.
I mean, that ties in nicely to she was asking, how can I express my feelings without blaming my partner?
Mm-hmm.
Because, you said, different, no matter how differently you express yourself. It's funny because there's this other relationship that I know where he was unhappy with her sister, and he showed me the message that he wrote the sister and said, look, I'm being so kind with her. And I was like, if this is you being kind, I would not want to see you upset. Like, this is so aggressive.
Yeah.
And before we leave off, I would just say, because what his message was just drowning in it. You did this, and so I felt this, and you did this, and so I felt this. And I think if you're gonna bring up something about your own feelings, avoid using the word you. So, for
I
example, it's my feelings. I felt like this. My feelings, not big, So, for example, we said this in the arguments and narcissists, and so let's say, great example. Last night, JT and I had a rough night. The baby was up all night and we didn't sleep. And so we agreed that he was going to take the baby out and, he didn't. And so I'm tired and I'm upset. I'm not going to bring it up with him because, it's not that deep. What you were saying earlier of just like, this isn't a pattern. I'm not going to bring it up. But if I were to bring it up, version A is you said you were going to do this and you didn't do it. So now I'm tired and it made me upset.
Mm-hmm.
Another version of doing that is last night was rough. I was expecting to kind of have the place to myself this morning to record the podcast. Now I'm feeling exhausted and I'm just so tired.
Yeah.
And even the way I said it, like I didn't even mean to kind of say it differently, but the you, I felt the aggression coming out. Whereas when it was me, it was just like, listen, I'm exhausted. Like we said we were going to do this. It didn't have turn out this way. And now I'm exhausted. And, and we started recording late and and the baby was screaming and everything. And it was just a nightmare. And I think that's, what you can check when you're expressing your own feelings. You're responsible for your own feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about yourself, not, talk about the situation, what led to your feelings, and that's that.
Yeah, and just, again, do it calmly, do it respectfully, do it openly, and also understand that they have their side, you have your side, and then there's the truth. And and it's just a matter of approaching it. Because why would you bring it up? Because you want them to be aware of it and you want it to get better and you want for this not to be a pattern. So if you're bringing it up just for the sake of bringing it up and just for argument, then that's not going to get you the results that you want. You have to think of, okay, what approach is going to get me the results that I want? So, in the case of Zev, all I have to do is give him a nice bear hug and he's already melted. And I'm like, yo, check your alarm clock, dude. No, and just be like, if they're as aware of themselves as you are of yourself, then they'll already know and they'll already bring it up before you even manage to say the word hey. But again, it's just a matter of, this morning was really rough for me. And I know it's just part of being a parent, it's part of the routine, but I'm just struggling right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And it is what it is. And I know that you're not bringing it up to point a finger or to make them feel bad. Because often we're our own worst enemies. I know how to make myself feel the worst, like the baddest that anyone can make me feel. So you don't need to pile on if someone's already feeling bad. But yeah, anyway, how about you guys? Let us know. How do you approach these conversations and how do you have the discussion with your partner?
And let us know about your biggest pet peeves and just, how you deal with them.
Yeah. Okay. Until next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye. That's it for this episode of Pop Culture Cupid.
Thanks for hanging out with us. We're glad you're here.
Make sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening.
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Reddit for more behind-the-scenes real talk.
And if you want to support the show, check us out on Patreon.
Until next time, be kind, be happy, be healthy, and remember, heartbreak isn't the end.
It's the plot twist.